Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Golf Lovers United podcast. I am Ben, Golf Love UK, joined as always by my co-host, partner in crime and good friend, Pro Golf Critic. And how are you, Pro Golf Critic? It didn't go well the other day in qualifying at the start, but talk us through it. Tell it, what were you trying to qualify for? Before we get into pro golf, let's do some good amateur golf.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of save this to the end. Just
let's get it out.
Didn't want to lead into it, but yeah.
They'll just skip by this. They'll just skip by it.
Yeah, let's hope so. It's because everybody knows that I kind of hate talking about my own golf game. Like I just think I've talked to enough people.
You're that one guy. You're that one guy that hates talking about their golf.
Yeah, I would rather talk about people that are better than me. Like that's kind of my focus. But so a lot of people know I kind of made a big stink about this, 2 years ago. I've had this little tete-a-tete with the USGA where I was originally scheduled to try to local qualify for the US Open 2 years ago. And with all of the controversy and just everything going on in the pro golf world at the time, I didn't want my funds to contribute to the USGA anymore. I just didn't. So I've been kind of having this little protest that like there's been little steps along the way to sort of get me to where I am now. So I decided early in the year that I was going to do a couple different USGA events this year. So I just did US amateur qualifying, and that was a really interesting. It was really interesting. So it was at one of my favorite courses, Pasatiempo. Everybody knows how much I love Pasatiempo. That was part of the reason why I played it. But it's a very difficult course. Like if you're not sharp and you're sort of missing greens and missing fairways, like it's going to be a long day. So I played pretty bad the first nine holes, but one positive was actually I played with a fellow LIV fan. Shout out Mason, who was keeping my score. He's got a really interesting story. He was a fairly accomplished junior player. Quit golf when he was 13 14 years old. Recently came back the last 3-4 years, and is really one of the reasons why he came back was because of LIV, actually, which is people are going to think that that's not true, but it's 100% true. So that sort of inspired him to sort of get back into the game because of the whole team aspect, and like that really appealed to him. And so we were talking about LIV the entire time. Like he recognized me, which was really that still throws me off a little bit when I get recognized for the things that I do online, but it's something I'm gonna have to get used to, because it's only gonna be more people that sort of know who I am over the years rather than less. So yeah, started out pretty poorly, except I kind of got to a point in the round where I was so I was 9 over after 11. And which is really bad for me. I was just not in the right headspace. Like I was not playing well. And then
I've played 36 holes with you, and I think you're 3 over for 36, to give listeners a guide to how bad 9 over through 11 is.
Yeah. It was, except like I tell people, competitive golf is like a whole nother animal. Like it's not like recreational golf at all. So, you really have to lock in. And so I got up to the hardest hole on the course, which is this really long par 3. Plays about 235. There's just trouble everywhere around this green. It's like one of the toughest par 3s in the world. And I'm like, I mean, you really got to sack up here and get a good shot, because I mean, your score is going to be really bad. But I was also in the back of my mind, I'm like, look, you need to forget about score now. Like you just need to focus on hitting good golf shots, and like no excuses from here to the house. Like your goal is for the next 7 holes, you should be under par. So I get to par 3 that has eaten my lunch over the years. I've seen really good players make 6, 7s, 8s on this hole, and I just hit like the most beautiful utility wood straight into the middle of the green. Had about 15 feet, and my playing competitor was like, "That's got to be the closest shot of the day." Because it's that hard of a hole. So didn't convert and make the birdie, but when you make a par on that hole, it really really just sort of helps to get your momentum. It really feels like a birdie because the scoring average was like over 4 for a par 3. So yeah, crazy. So went even par the rest of the round. Wound up finishing 57th out of about 90 players, which, you know, it's not bad. It could have been worse. Could have been a lot better. There's a lot of things that I have to clean up, and it sort of lets me know that I need to play more golf. Like there's only so much you could do on the driving range, and being on the driving range does not really help you when you have a 175-yard shot off of a downhill slope, or like you get plugged in a bunker. Like I got plugged in 2 bunkers during the qualifying, and honestly, like it would have been very easy for me to make huge numbers because they were very difficult positions. My caddy went up to the ball. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. One of them actually wound up making par. The other one I wound up making bogey, which was a great bogey. And those are like the little things that give you positive momentum when you feel like you should be making a big number, but you actually wind up scrounging out a par or even a bogey and not making a big number. Like I did not make any big numbers. That was one of my goals. Like I didn't want any doubles or worse, and I didn't have any. So there's a lot of positives for me to sort of take from this. I've got a lot of other tournaments kind of throughout the year, and this one really sort of got the juices flowing and got me encouraged that I need to start playing more competitively because I know I have that gene in me to sort of kick into high gear when I need to. It's just that I need to be able to bring that out a little bit more. So it was a lot of fun.
What's interesting about something used to that, one of my good mates, Paul, who listens to this podcast, and Paul, you know, I love you, one of my best friends, and he was one of the guys who really was instrumental in me taking golf more seriously. And I remember we were playing and I had a bad start and the round's gone. I'm not going to shoot 10, 12, 13 over. I'm unless I go Eagles and Birdie Fest and get no big numbers on the card. It's just not happening. And he said, sometimes he said, you just need to go, I'm going to play this now in 3 holes. I'll play the next 3 holes. Can I be 1 over for the next 3, 1 over the next 3, 1 over the next 3, and just break it down that. Ignore the shit 6 that have gone before, and you're 10 over through 6, couple of doubles, a bogey, a par, and a treble. Ignore that. It's gone. And the round's probably gone. You're probably now not going to have a good round, as in score. But let's put those 6 away. And can you play the next 3 and 1 over, the next 3 and 1 over? And he must have said that to me maybe 5-6 years ago. And I think it's really good advice for anyone out there that has those rounds that go wild. Like if the score's gone, the score's gone. But then you can actually make a game within that game, and you can go, okay, well, for the last 12, I was 5 over, and do you know what? That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, me.
Yeah. No, it's so cliche, but there's this, you know, saying 1 shot at a time. Like there's a reason why all these pro golfers say that. Like it's so true. Like you can't really be thinking about the bad hole that you had a couple of holes prior, or like the bad front 9 that you just had. Like you really need to lock in on sort of what the task at hand is, because if you're still thinking about your front 9 and you're playing a very difficult hole where you can make a huge number, like you're probably going to make a huge number if you're still thinking in the past. Like you have to be present, you have to focus on every shot, and then when you start focusing on that and you start hitting good shots, it really is contagious, because the rest of the round, like, you know, I didn't have a good warm up. Like my driver the last few weeks has been just like totally off the map. So I kind of had to play like a little fairway finder that it's probably going about 25 yards shorter than what it usually goes for me. But it was like, I just need to find fairways and just like try to scrounge out a good number. So a lot of positives to sort of bring from that sort of the back half of it. And I don't know if it's a coincidence, but you know, after the turn, like I sweat out my hat so crazy. Like my hat was totally gone.
You are a sweaty guy.
Oh my God. That's why I don't live in Florida anymore. But even when it's like 55 degrees and like humid, I'm going to sweat. So I threw my other hat off. I remember I had a spare 4 Aces hat in my bag. I put the 4 Aces hat on, and coincidentally, I went even par the rest of the round. So I will be wearing four aces hat for the rest of my tournaments, the rest of the year. We'll see if it makes a difference. So
my hat issue, and anyone who's played me in wind knows I have to pass you my hat if the wind's blowing into me, because my head is long. There's no hats that really fit me that well. So when the wind starts blowing, it just lifts off. Like it's horrific. Like, and I know that happens to other people, but I don't need a lot of breeze for my thin, long head for the hat to fly off. So yeah.
We might have to invest in a couple bucket hats. Like, I am very convinced that like I'm gonna try wearing a bucket hat because I sweat. I have to wear a hat.
Not gonna wear a bucket
baseball
hat.
style hats.
I'd rather die.
I start sweating so much that like the sweat starts to drip from the bill of my cap, and I'm like, well, if I have a bucket hat, like it's not gonna drip. So I gotta look into that. I don't think there's any Aces bucket hats.
Not going
I did
to
see
play
a Crushers one.
I'm not going to play with you if you wear one. I've gone to LIV shop now and have a look. I'll have a look under headwear for you. You have to take a new mortgage to buy one. Right. Anyway, what was I going to say? So
Speaking of headwear,
this is great. This is great for the podcast listeners. So those on the podcast, he's now left the screen. He's left his mic and he's gone to find something.
Yeah, I did finally get my Bryson Crushers Masters themed hat. So shout out to the Crushers. This is a great hat. All their new era hats that they have in the LIV shop are just like top notch hats. They don't.
There's a Crushers bucket. There's a LIV bucket. There's an Ironheads bucket. There's a Stinger bucket.
Yeah, not wearing the iron hats or the Stinger, but Crushers might be the one.
There's a High Flyers bucket. Yeah, that's what we got.
High Flyers, okay. Yeah, High Flyers are always reaching out to me asking if I want any merch. So I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, the answer is yes. We love merch. Yes, right. Let's get on to the LIV Golf event in Dallas. I also want to talk about Putter and his performance in the PGA Tour. Like the kid's a beast. Hits the ball miles. Interesting. Let's do it. Let's do him in that event first.
Okay.
I don't want to get into the politics.
This is the Rocket Classic for everybody that doesn't know. Yeah. The PGA Tour. It's in Michigan. It's outside of Detroit. It's a very sort of old school design that honestly, it's courses like that have kind of time has sort of passed them by a little bit because they don't really hold up to the modern game. So it's part of the reason why you see scores that are so crazy low, like we just had.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about scores that are crazy low. Have you seen Doug Gim's Doug Gim is currently 9 under through 16 at TPC Deere Run for the John Deere.
John Deere? Yeah. It's not a surprise. John Deere, they've yielded so many 59s over the years. Like it's one of the easiest courses on tour, and everybody knows it.
It must be over easy. Max Homer's 7 under.
If you're looking to build confidence, you play the John Deere because you're going to make a ton of birdies. There's not a ton of bogeys or like big numbers out there. It's part of the reason why I've never really liked that particular event because it just doesn't really appeal to me. So yeah.
So look, Potter played really well. He hits the ball miles. What's interesting actually, Potter and how far he hits it, he's one of these big hitters that doesn't use a ridiculous setup driver. Got a stiff shaft and a 9-degree head. So that's interesting. A lot of the big guys have these different weird shafts and weird heads and whatever else. So the reason I mentioned
Rory's kind of the same. Rory's kind of the same because they're looking for that high launch. Hang on.
No, Rory isn't the same because he won't tell you what driver he's using and he loses his temper and gets all upset.
But it's very easy to find out what.
You don't know what he's using. You just can't possibly know what he's using. Anyway, right?
we can go to the range and see exactly what he's playing. That's what he told the reporter in the press conference.
Yeah. So let's talk very quickly about LIV Golf Dallas. Look, I was a big proponent, as you know, of bringing in a new player to the Stinger. Brandon Grace didn't have a great season. He got relegated. I like Brandon Grace. I like the Stingers. I understand the team bond. I understand all that. But relegation should have meant relegation. and it didn't.
Yes.
He did play well
And
at the
everybody
qualifying
knows
event.
it.
Yeah,
Everybody
he
knows
did play well in the qualifying event, but he didn't qualify and still got brought back. I think I mentioned it twice in this podcast that Pottergeiter or Lamprecht should have come over to join the Stingers. And who knows what happens with player movement. But it does feel to me that there's been a miss there with a positive young South African laddie who could have come across and been on the Stingers. Could they get him still? Of course they could. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? But I think
Price
the
has gone
league
up, though.
Yeah, the price gone up, and the league would be a better place for having him now.
Yes. No, I think so. I've talked to a few people about the South African. I don't really want to call them kids, but younger players under 25 that have a lot of potential. I have been more of a Christo Lamprecht guy. Like he's been my guy. I think that he's unique in terms of like he's really totally hits it a long way. He's really well spoken. Like I think that he would be a great ambassador for Stinger. Aldridge Pockhatter, like I think that he is similar in terms of he obviously hits it a long way. He has a very unique profile silhouette for golf. It's a profile that I identify with very very much as being a little bit more of a burly guy. So and he hits it a long way. Like that's his identity. Like he has a lot of other skills that he's still refining. Like I think even he would say that his short game and his putting is not necessarily great inside of 100 yards, except on that particular course. He didn't really need to like
No.
he didn't really need those skills because he was getting up really close to the greens on the par fours. Like, I mean, there's a lot of par fours out at the Rocket Classic that are like 400 yards. And if you're carrying it 330, 340, 350, like you're going to be up by the green and you can make birdies, even if your short game's not that great. You're like, you're going to fall into birdies between that and all the par fives that they have out there as well. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where Stinger goes in the offseason. Like, Brendan Grace, he is currently in the relegation zone. Last I checked,
Yeah,
I
he
think
is.
he was. Yeah.
Interestingly, he has scored points in the last two events. So he has actually got points
Not
in the last
enough
two
though.
events. But
He was like
no,
tied 23rd in Dallas and then tied 9th.
Yeah, he's still in the drop zone. He's 49. He's 49. But yeah, like I think that we've said this now that there needs to be some strengthening of teams. I understand the mates bond. I understand this, that, and the other. I like Matt Jones. I love the fact he plays quickly. I think he's a great guy. He spent a little bit of time with him, spoke to him a few times. But Matt's maybe not performing well enough for Ripper to contend. You look at Matt at 48th. You look at Matt's 48th, and the next lowest player is Cam Smith at 26th.
Yeah.
It's quite a drop off between there. And this isn't a show of just ripping people, because I want to talk not a lot, but enough about Patrick Reed in a moment and about him winning it.
Patrick.
Yeah, but I do think that if you are in that drop zone, you've got to expect that drop zone. You've got to expect you can't be coming back. Like Freddie Ketter. Freddie Ketter's not got a point all year. Like Anthony Kim's not got a point, but he's actually scared the points last week with a tied 25th to get his first.
Close. He was
one shot away from getting his first point. Freddie hasn't done that. You look at Mito Pereira, like he's got 0.6 points for a tied 20th in the third event. Since then he's had he's had one tied 20th, one tied 29th, and everything else has been worse than tied 49th. Like we're talking right at the bottom for Mito Pereira.
He's out. He's out. He's got to be out.
He's got to go. Andy Ogletree. A lot of people talk about Andy, and obviously he had injury issues, and he's come back, and this, that, and the other. But Andy's like, he's had one top 20 finish. So he's had two top 20 finishes, and then everything else has been like tied 31st, tied 47th, tied 40th, tied 49th. Like there's some players there. The only other surprise to me was Yubin Zhang. I thought Yubin was going to be really good.
I thought he'd be better. I thought he'd be a lot better. But it just kind of goes to show you that like it does take a little bit of time for a lot of these guys to adjust to life on LIV. Like it is a little different. It's a different format. It's something that like a lot of these guys haven't seen before.
If you want to be cruel on this, and I'm not interested in being cruel, but just being honest. But for Freddie, obviously, he didn't play this week. Max Rotlove stepped in for him. Max finished tied 37th. Obviously doesn't score points, but Max is tied 37th.
Better.
Is higher than all but one of Freddie's finishes.
Yeah.
And we're at a stage now where I think things have got to change. Things have got to move. We got the relegation has to mean relegation. You know that I've had a couple of conversations with LIV execs and asking my opinion on X, Y, and Z. And I had an hour and 40 minutes with one of the most senior execs at LIV. And I said, look, there's three things. Like I said, if you want people taking you seriously, relegation's got to mean relegation. I understand Matt Jones, who obviously isn't being relegated. I understand Matt Jones is close to him. I understand Brendan Grace is close to him. I understand that, but these players, you can't have it is not a bona fide team competition if you're allowing players who aren't performing to be there because they're friends. And you can talk about locker room dynamics, but it comes to locker room dynamics is different in a 53-man NFL squad or a 26-man Premier League team or a cricketer that's half decent batsman, half decent bowler, good fielder, but keeps everyone going. Like it's different. In golf, when you've got four blokes and four scores counting, being a good team guy just doesn't cut it. And I'm not trying to get at people and go, oh, of course you are, Ben, you're just being a moaner. I'm not trying to moan. I'm just trying to say, if we want LIV to be taken seriously, relegation's got to mean relegation. To the point that, while I would love to see the league go to 15 teams, I'll happily see it stay at 12 if we get rid of 7 or 8 players who aren't performing and bring in 7 or 8 others. Who knows? But it's getting that quality up across the board has to happen.
13 teams. Obviously,
sorry, 13.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, I think this is where you sort of get into the issue with. I think we're getting to the point pretty soon where we need to start to sell these teams and get people in there that have a little bit more of a vested interest. Like everybody knows that all these teams they're currently 75% owned by LIV Golf. And I think once you start getting new ownership groups in there that are owning these teams that are hyper competitive, they're going to be the ones that like, it doesn't really matter at that point what the players want for their team. It's all about what's the most important thing that's going to improve these teams. And like, if some of these guys aren't playing well and like it's very very clear that they're not, and like someone like Andy Ogletree, like I get that he likes being on the high flyers. Like I think the high flyers really like him being there, but like he's not playing well this year. And
Brendan Steele's not playing well. Like I like Brendan, but Brendan's got 4.3 points, and he's 47th. Yeah. Like you leave Phil in the high flyers, and bring in 2 people to replace Brendan and Andy, and all of a sudden you've got Cameron Tringale. He's at 32nd. He's not shooting. Like you got players like high flyers that have got 2 legitimate spaces to bring in 2 really good players.
Well, Brendan still did win a tournament last year, so I think he's kind of exempted a little bit. Mate, however,
you can't.
I think I'm very convinced if you win an event, just like on the PGA Tour, just like every other tour, you win an event, you get a 2-year exemption on that tour. I'm totally fine with that. Even if you're last in the standings the next year after winning, like you should still be exempted to the next year. I'm totally fine with that. However,
are you including that in the drop zone?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thing is that the PGA Tour, where I feel that's a false comparison, is the PGA Tour doesn't have a team event element to it. So what you're saying here is that Brendan Steele won last year, brilliant. He's got 4.3 points this year. He's contributed to the team score positively, as in I know how the scoring works, so this is again a false equivalence. But I look at anyone in the top 24 as properly contributing. He's been in the top 24 twice. He's been twice in the top 24, and like so. Okay, I'm a so you've got a young high flyers fan, who loves high flyers, wants them to do really well. Age doesn't matter. He could be an old high flyers fan. And you're telling me they've got to have a guy who's on their team stinking it up because he did well
wait.
2 years ago.
Yeah, you got to wait. Like
Yeah,
if they're going to be taking more, if LIV is going to be taken more seriously, just like with all the other tours, you're going to have exemption categories. You're going to have ways to sort of qualify in. Like if you're going to be picked up by a team, you need to meet certain eligibility criteria. Like I've been talking about this for like 3 years. Like this is something that's been very obvious to me and something that they need to sort of go into. Like when you start looking at the players LIV picked up, some of them would certainly meet that criteria, but like others like Freddie Ketchup probably they wouldn't meet that like minimum standard. And I think that there needs to be some level of minimum standard that like says, oh, Aldridge Potgieter, like you just won on the PJ Tour. I'm sure he's in the top 100 in the world. He would be from that list of players that you could pick from to bring over to LIV. Except if you're, Andy Ogletree that gets relegated from LIV potentially this year, he's like 1,000. His world rank is currently 1,062, and part of the reason it is because he hasn't played in almost any events outside of LIV, and we have been on his block for a while. The reason why some of the guys that played well in the majors from LIV played well in the majors and have been playing well on LIV is because they played themselves into playing well. They've been playing outside of LIV. They've been playing a European tour. They've been playing an Asian tour. Like this is an important thing. And a lot of these guys, Brendan Steele's not playing at all outside of LIV. And that to me is a problem. Like a lot of these guys need to play more. And I get that like a lot of these guys get comfortable being on LIV because it's guaranteed money and all that stuff that the golf media loves to sort of lean into, and is all the excuses why they feel like LIV isn't a legitimate league. But it's like a lot of these guys like need to realize that sentiment is out there, and they need to be trying even extra hard to play themselves into form. Just like I hate to compare me, but like there's a reason why I struggled in this qualifying, because I haven't played in any real competitive golf for like 18 months. Like I need to play myself into being in competitive mode. A lot of these other guys need to play more. Terrell Hatton's showing it. A lot of guys like Carlos Ortiz has played a lot outside of LIV, and he's won on the Asian Tour. Patrick Reed, that we're going to talk about.
What you're showing,
he won the Hong Kong Open.
But what you're saying to me makes me feel even less like these guys deserve it. Like if Brendan Steele isn't playing well and then isn't going and playing elsewhere, he deserves his play. I don't mean to pile on Brendan Steele, but you could say you could say the same for Matt Jones, Brandon Grace, Andy Ogletree, Mito Pereira, Yubing Jiang. Like
winning
go and play other places.
Winning on LIV should be seen as this really aspirational thing that unlocks other things for you, just like it does on the PJ Tour. That's why the PJ Tour puts so much emphasis on who wins their events. I'd like to see LIV do the same. Like if you win an event, and maybe it doesn't count for like 2024 prior because like, the league was just getting off the ground, and maybe it's a go forward thing. Like if you won this year or going forward, because the standard of the league is higher now than it was 2 years ago. Now you could say, okay, if you won this year going forward, you get that 2-year exemption. That's another way you could potentially do it. Like Adrian Meronk won in Riyadh the beginning of the year. Like he should be, it doesn't matter how he plays the rest of this year or next year, he should be guaranteed those 2 years. And he will, because he's a very high level player. And I think any other players that win these events, because now they're playing on tougher courses, like they're setting it up tougher. Merida was an amazing test. Like that was something where single digits under par won, 6 under won. Like the final round scoring average in Merida was like similar to the final round scoring average at Oakmont. So, I mean, we're talking very, very high level test. If you win that is like an amazing accomplishment, and something that you need to sort of, that should be part of the reward that goes along with winning a LIV event.
Personally, look, we're not going to agree, because for me the team element means, why should the team have to be dragged down with a dead weight just because they won an event 2 years ago. Like
because that guy contributed to your team last year, big
well,
time.
no,
So
not last year.
just
The year, no, not last year. The year that's the point. Isn't last year? The year before that. So like under your rules, Brendan Steele will be there next year, and Brendan could stink it up again. And like you're like, okay, you won an event 2 years ago, mate. Like, why should we be?
and then he should be
because of
gone
that?
after that. He should be gone if he has
No, I don't.
2 years.
I just
If he has
don't. I
two
just don't
consecutive
think.
years like this, then you can get him out. Because and
I
again,
just
like
don't think you can drag a team down. Like it's a team. If you look, if you want to take the team event seriously, you have to have the best players playing for you, not some guy who's grandfathered in because he won 2 years ago. That's my point. If you want to take, because you cannot take a team event seriously if you've got some bloke on the tour who is playing. He's played terribly for 14 events this year. He's played terribly for 13 events next year. And he's like, he won it 2 years ago. It's not fair on the team.
That's Brendan Grace this year. Like he won,
well,
and then he stunk it up for 2 years, and now he should be out.
And should be relegated. Should be relegated last year because he was 100%. Relegated.
I think the only thing you and I disagree on is the timetable. Like you're basically saying, like I think under your criteria, if you won an event, you're obviously going to be back the next year. So your exemption is 1 year. Me, I'm more about extending it out to make it 2 years. So I mean, we're really sort of arguing. We're sort of splitting hairs at this point. But I just think that obviously relegation needs to be a real thing. Except there should be exemption categories. Like if you won 6 majors, like that should be another one. Except when Phil brings in new leadership and new ownership to the high flyers, like he needs to have somebody that's going to tell him kind of like, hey, maybe now's the time for us to talk through a transition plan.
Let's move on something. Let's move on something we can agree on. Kazuma is a hell of a player.
Oh, for sure.
And
he's been playing great.
He's 29th and he missed the first 5 events of the season. If you take his total points divided by 4 and then times it by 9, let's say he had the same point scoring ratio, he would be 3rd. Sorry, he'd be 4th. I don't know who knows what happened in the first 5 events. I'm just doing a little bit of fun maths. But my point being is that he's playing that well. He'd be in 4th place. And I think Asia is, here comes an understatement of the word, Asia's massive. Asia's massive. It's got a sport-loving population. It's got so many people that want to be involved in sport, love a sport. You ever go to a Grand Prix and see how many Asian people are there loving it and with decked out in team gear? The Ironheads, if they can get, I think Kevin Na's a great guy. He should still be captain. Is he performing brilliantly? No. Is he performing badly enough to be dropped? Probably. If he wasn't captain. If he wasn't captain, he probably would be. But you've got Danny Lee and Kevin Na next to each other in the league tables. So
it's not good. You can't have two guys down that low, or 3 actually. They have,
and obviously Yubin Zhang is deep in the drop zone. So the Ironheads for me are a real sleeping giant in their intentions and their possibilities of what their market could be. I just think that having a young stud in Yubin Zhang that didn't perform isn't ideal. And then because if even if Yubin Zhang was like 30th. 29th, 28th, and you've got 2 youngsters in Yubin Zhang and Kazuma. That's something really to market and get behind. So I think what we're saying here, really in short, is there are lots of teams here that need to pull stuff together and sort out what's going on. And it's not about being critical for everyone. I think this is
you're making a really, really important point that I think we need to lean into. Our criticism is not. This is where there's just like art to criticism that I will beat people over the head with. Like, we care about the success of LIV Golf and these teams. I don't think anybody can even debate that. Our criticism comes from a place of love and wanting the league to up level and improve because it's important to us because we invest so much energy and time and like I'm investing 2 weeks out of my life to come to the UK, particularly for this LIV Golf UK event at JCB. Like, we are invested in the success of LIV Golf. We are going to push for LIV Golf to be better. And that criticism isn't us hating. It's not us being negative. It's us wanting the league to improve. As much as we love it to the point where we want it to be better and we need it to be better.
And on top of that, we are, for podcast listeners, I'm looking in the sky trying to find my words. That's 95% of it. There's 5% of it for me, which is don't give the LIV detractors free weapons. Don't give them free ammunition. No. I know what you're saying.
They're gonna poke holes in anything LIV does.
But
that's part of the deal.
But let them poke holes. Let them poke holes in stuff they want to poke holes in. Don't open a hole for them to poke. Don't bring back relegated players. Don't bring back this. Don't have weakened teams. Like just don't do it. Like it's just so easy. I love LIV. We know that. I cannot understand and will never understand how LIV scheduled Dallas to be 2 days before the Open Championship playoff qualifying.
Yeah,
I understand. I understand diaries. I understand that, but it's just nonsensical. Like with a 52-week calendar, pull forward everything 1 week. Pull forward Saudi 1 week. Pull forward that. Get it so you can fit it in. Push it back 1 week. Whatever it is, you've got 52 weeks the year to play with. They do it in like a 24-week period, as we know, 25-week period. You've got time to space out. We had a 3-week gap. That 3-week gap we've already had for that mid-season break. I know we got the Masters around there and other things, but you don't have qualifying for the Masters. Like, so you don't need to do some of the things they've done. And like the fact that, look, Herb's qualified, really made up for Herbs and Pewdog, absolutely over the moon. I will get Pewdog on the podcast soon. I want to talk about Herb's like warming up on the beach, hitting 7 irons in the sand. I want to talk about that. That sounds quite good fun. But you had Herb's qualifying, you had Westy qualifying, and
Clean Dean.
Blank.
Dean Burmester.
But qualifying. Great. Yep. We also had 5 or 6 other LIV players there, 7 other LIV players there that were 8 LIV players. My brain can't even do maths. Were there, and they were obviously tired. They were obviously this and that. People go, oh, well, LIV should have let them off. No, LIV shouldn't let them off.
No.
And not play. But what LIV should have done is moved it. Also, like, I will always defend LIV's right to have their players where they are, but Blandy not being able to go and compete in the US Senior Open, for me, wasn't a great thing. I'd like him to go on to defend his title. Like, so, you know the calendar dates of what people are going to do. Let's not give free ammunition to the morons that want to slate LIV for everything. Because that way, if they're slating and picking holes in nonsense, you can ignore that. But don't give them 2-3 easy things to pick a hole in. If you're going to relegate someone, relegate them. If you want your players to qualify for the Open, don't put a tournament. Or if you want to have a tournament the weekend before, don't have the tournament.
That's when JCB needs to be
an 11-hour flight.
Yeah. If you have JCB, if you switch out JCB in Dallas,
yeah,
like it works out perfectly because
they've done the schedule for 2026, and it looks to me like they've done exactly the same again.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just some fat bald guy based in Bristol, and my brain goes, well, maybe we'll have a look at the calendar.
No, I think there needs to be something. I think, how can I say this? Part of the.
By the way, I love the guys that say all we do is talk positive about LIV. We love LIV, but listen to this podcast today.
Those people, I've told you a million times, those clowns need to be totally ignored because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't listen to this podcast. They pick out 1 out of 100 tweets and try to say, oh, you guys are never critical about anything. They don't know a GD thing. So just forget about that. To me, I think that there's this thing in LIV Golf that I've noticed, which I totally understand. I think that the players that are the headlining players, they're the ones that are most responsible for contributing to making this the schedule. They also have this sort of competition committee that they have that is responsible for setting up golf courses, making them harder. I think one of the challenges LIV has is that they obviously have these superstar players that like the league is basically crafting their schedule around what those players want. Players like Brooks and Cam and Bryson and Phil and those guys that are already qualified for the majors. So there's less importance placed on a lot of these guys that have to go through qualifying, that have to fly 10, 11 hours to get to these qualifiers on no sleep. Like Lee Westwood, it's one of the more impressive things I've ever seen. For Lee Westwood at 52 years old to fly across the Atlantic on no sleep. He said he had an hour and a half of sleep before having to play 36 holes to qualify at Dundonald Links. Like, I mean, that's one of the more impressive things that I've seen. Like, he played so well to be medalist there and qualify for the Open because he wanted it that bad. I don't think these guys should be put in that situation, and it goes to the point that we've been saying for a long time. They need more spots into these majors.
But they've done it in such a weird way, though, mate. Because look at the new schedule. They've got some new events in some new places. Dallas has gone, but they've now moved. They now move Spain. So rather than having European, oh god, it drives me mad. Rather than having a European leg and people being here for the Open, so play Valderrama, play the Open, play JCB over a 4-week period. They've now got Spain at the beginning of June, 2 weeks off. Obviously, US Open, I understand that. Then it's New Orleans. Then it's like a month off to allow them to play the Open. Then it's over to the UK. Then it's back to Chicago. Like that, I just...
It's a little strange. It's a little strange.
A European swing works really well. I understand. Look, I understand. Great to see South Africa in there, by the way. Great. Anyone that listens to the podcast knows I'm half South African. Great to see South Africa get a tournament, which is going to be in middle of March. The weather's going to be absolutely perfect. It's going to be superb.
We also have to just qualify that. So for the listeners, this is a preliminary schedule. This is not set in stone yet. The dates can change. The locations are probably going to stay the same. The dates can potentially change between now and when it's finalized. So I just want, because we went through the same thing last year where they had a preliminary release and people start freaking out about certain things, and like they wound up switching things, and like 3 or 4 of the locations were totally different, and the times of year were totally different too. So there's a couple things that we need to kind of just qualify with this conversation, that like this isn't 100% final just yet.
Okay. Whether it's final or not, I just think that the not having the European events together is a huge miss.
New Orleans in July, New Orleans the end of June, or Dallas the end of June makes no sense. No sense at all. I'll be the first to say it,
mate. The hottest, stickiest place in the world in June could be New Orleans, and look, just. I
got on the PGA Tour for the same stuff with Memphis, going to play Memphis in August. Like, you just should do it. It makes no sense.
When
it needs to be entirely in Europe this time of year.
When Houston used to be middle of August as well, or early August. I can't remember when that was.
No, well, yeah, the Houston event last year was the beginning of June, so it wasn't ideal either. But like, it goes.
Let's just avoid that whole area, the continental USA,
100%,
in mid start of June to like the middle of August. Let's just maybe even the end of August. Anyway, let's not keep going about the schedule. I just doesn't make sense to me. I would JCB. I want to see JCB stay. I think it's a great course. They're a good partner. I know I'm being greedy, but I do think that I do think you could do LIV Celtic or LIV something like that. And one year you got a LIV event in Scotland, 1 year in Ireland, 1 year in Scotland, 1 year in Ireland. Rotate it between a couple of courses, one in Scotland, one in Ireland. Every other year have a Celtic event around that sort of time. But look, it's not happened.
One of the things really quick, one of the things in the schedule that I want to point out that people need to keep an eye on, because people are not talking about this at all. There's this gap in between the US Open and the British Open, aka Open Championship, where New Orleans is the only thing on the schedule, and it happens right after the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open's at Shinnecock next year. One of the things that like people need to keep an eye on is the European Tour, this potential partnership between LIV and the European Tour that I think is we're closer to it than anybody's letting on. They've added new links events that they could potentially, they haven't figured out their schedule for 2026 just yet, except Trump Aberdeen is now on the European Tour schedule. This year is going to be in August. They could very easily next year put that right before the Scottish Open, which is the lead into the Open Championship. That could be the opportunity for a lot of the LIV players to get in a little bit of links experience in competition right before the Open. Like, I think that would be a really, really great thing. And if you're already over there, that's kind of around the same time as Open qualifying as well. So that's something I just want people to keep an eye on, that's something that could be out there if they're able to sort of have a little bit more collaboration between LIV and the European Tour. Like, I think we're going to start seeing more and more of that. We're going to have more LIV players playing in European Tour events, just like we're seeing this week with Sergio and Puig and Keimer and Patrick Reed. A lot of those guys playing in Germany this week because they're already going to be over there for the Open in a couple weeks. So just something I want people to keep an eye on once the schedule gets finalized, that like that's something that's out there as a possibility.
It is what it is. Like, it's hopefully things, I shouldn't get a bee in my bonnet about it, but you know what I'm like. I love process, I love organization. It just makes some sense to me to do it that way. I was just doing a little bit of maths now because I'm boring. I was looking at the amount of points that that the bottom teams have got. Why I think team competitiveness has to be so important. Crush has got 160 points so far this season.
Yeah. Shout out to the Crushers too. They've won 3 in a row.
And if you add the total team points together, Stinger, Smash, Range Goats, High Flyers, Cleeks, Majestic, and Ironheads, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams. So the total points together of 7 teams. They've only got 6 points more than the Crushers. You've just got the competitiveness down the league, and the Crushers.
We're a little top heavy.
What people do miss about the Crushers, right? They got one star name. What they haven't got is a bad player. Paul Casey plays well.
Paul Casey is an elite global player. He always has.
Yeah.
Like, he's been a top 5 player in the world.
Yeah. But what I mean is, you look at the stars, it's not a team full of stars. It's a team full of really good golfers where there's no weakness. Like Charles Howell, Chucky, playing really well, now he's back from injury and fully fit. Barn, he's always there or thereabouts. Like, having that ability just to keep racking up top 22, top 23, top 20 performances all the time means your team's never getting that big +3, big +4, sticking your score down.
We're seeing it from the 4 Aces this year too.
And you see it from Torquay. Like, Torquay finished 11th this week. If Mito Pereira hadn't have vomited everywhere, they would have finished 3rd. Like, it's, and I don't want people to listen to that. I'm not. I've just got to be honest. If I sit here and go, oh, Mito Pereira, like, for any English fans listening, I've been watching the cricket today, and the commentators are being disingenuous. They're talking really positive about a guy called Bashir and his bowling. His bowling is dreadful. By any metric, he's not a very good spinner. He shouldn't be in the England team. The fact he is in the England team says more about the depth of talent in the rest of the country in our sport. It's terrifying. But they come to go, oh, he's doing really well. He's bowling a good line. Well, yeah, but he hasn't turned a ball for 100 overs. Like, 60 overs. The guy just isn't very good. And if I sat here now going, well, Mito's doing great, Mito's doing this, like, that would be disingenuous. Like, it's nothing against him personally. I would like, if he could turn around and go, I'll be the first person to go, if he goes 2nd, 4th, 15th, and 3rd in the next few events, I'll be like, he deserves his place. The guy's playing brilliantly. But you've got to just be honest on this. It's not me bashing players. I just want to talk very quickly for 2 seconds about the Open qualifying. Lean Dean, absolutely fantastic. Herbs, absolutely amazing to see it. And Westy on the back of no sleep, rolling back the years. great to see him do it. But it's almost frustrating. Like as I said about Poltz this year, and I said about Lee this year, the amount of times that Poltz and Lee have 2 really good rounds out of 3, like it's really like it's the game's there. They can do it, and they just have like 1 bad round.
See it with Phil too. Like, I mean, a lot of these guys they get older.
Put Phil in there as well. Yeah.
There's a lot of guys. A lot of guys, they get a little bit older, like that consistency, because their ceiling is pretty much just as high. Like people were asking me on Twitter how Lee Westwood can do in the Open. I'm like, Lee Westwood can win the British Open. Like, make no mistake about it. Like the last time he was played Portrush, he finished top 5, and that was only 6 years ago. Lee Westwood has not lost his game. His ceiling is still very, very high. It's just his consistency is not quite, like, as you get older, you're just not as consistent. Like, you get out of bed, you just don't feel the same way you did the day before. Like, it's just, it comes with age. But like a lot of these guys still have very high ceilings, which is part of the reason why I will never doubt the ability for Phil Mickelson to potentially compete in and win another major championship. People doubted it 4 years ago when he won the PGA at Kiawah, and it's like if he could do it then, he could do it now. So, and a lot of these guys, it's the same thing. So it's just the consistency is hard on the older players. They're still fully capable, which is part of the reason why, like, I want to see Lee Westwood and Ian Poulter play well at the end of this LIV season, so that there's no question that they should be back next year. So, and we're not quite there yet. Like, they're teetering a little bit now. So, like, they've had some better results, but the problem with the Majestics is, like, they've got Lee Westwood at 42, Stenson at 43, and Poulter at 46. Like, that's just not going to get it done. Like, you're going to have to make a change. You have to. So even if one of those guys doesn't get relegated, you got to make a change and bring in somebody that's like a Terrell Hatton or like a Tommy Fleetwood or somebody that's like more close to their prime, because their consistency is there. They're playing. They're at close to the top of their game. Like, that's going to lift that entire team. So it's just something all these teams need to, like, I'm sure they're already thinking about it, obviously, but like, we just need to see improvement for some of these teams. But but shout out to Lee Westwood. Like, I have been a Lee Westwood fan for a long time. I've wanted to see him win a major championship over the course of his career. He's a former world number 1, and I just have a funny feeling he's going to play really well at Portrush. I just do. So I'm not saying he's going to win, except I could see him finishing in the top 10, top 20 pretty easily.
No, I would love nothing more than see a LIV player win at Portrush. Question, real quick, before we have to end this. We actually saw that the Open is doing a pre-qualifier on the Monday for between 12 and 16 players. Now, there's been nothing mentioned about what 12 to 16 or how you get into that 12 to 16.
No idea.
Do we know anything about that yet?
No,
I think it's super cool.
It's interesting. It's an interesting idea. It's like basically having a Monday qualifier at the venue where they're going to have the actual Open Championship. Like, this is like
it was also suggested that the alternates won't come from qualifying; they'll come from that event.
Oh, interesting.
So
I've been trying to do a lot of research into this.
Yeah, so I did
limited information.
I did read that the first player will go in, and then the top 3 players will be invited to stay as potential alternates.
Yeah,
and you always get 1 or 2 people pull out. So
no, it's an interesting concept, and I think that equates to success in the actual championship maybe more than having qualifying at a variety of different courses that are not like the venue that they're playing at. So if you're playing well at the venue that they're playing at, chances are that sort of increases your odds of actually playing well in the actual major. So it's an interesting concept. I'd like to hear more about how they're going to select
is 18
these
holes?
guys. Is it going to be world rank? No, I mean, is it going to be world ranking to sort of get them in?
I think it's also interesting. It's just 18 holes.
Yeah. No, it's like Monday qualifying on the PGA Tour, European Tour, it's the same thing. It's like, except that Monday qualifier usually isn't at the actual venue where they're playing the event. So this is kind of like a unique thing that I don't think I've even seen previously. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking for more
information.
details.
No. There's no information yet I've seen. I wonder if I have a look now.
Yeah, it's going to be at Royal Birkdale though next year, which is where the Open's going to be. In 26. I also noticed that they've officially said St. Andrews is going to host the 2027 Open Championship, which is also the last year of where Cam Smith his major exemptions start to run out in 2027. So, St. Andrews, I think we might have to figure out a way for us to get over there for that. Like that's one on the bucket list for sure, to be at an Open at St. Andrews. So, we'll have to see.
I know.
But Birkdale was a good one too. Birkdale's a good one too.
I think St. Andrews is so overrated.
Oh, don't do this.
It is. It's just because of the history. Like let's be honest. It's not even the best layout in the world. It's just like it doesn't. The history is amazing.
Yeah, it's the vibe. It's everything about it. Just being in the middle of the city, like it's something that's so unique in golf.
How do you know if someone's played St. Andrews? It's the same way you know if someone's vegan. Just wait, they'll tell you. Like it's just I'll just have a minute off.
I haven't played it, so I couldn't tell you. But it's on the list though. It's definitely on the list.
Do I think it's a brilliant course? Yes. Do I think it's a beautiful course? Yes. Do I love the history? Do I love everything about it? Yes, I do. Do I think it gets way too much hype? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, probably. But you can say the same about Pebble Beach. Like people say Pebble Beach is overhyped, but it's still the second best course in the world.
It's not the second best course in the world. Behave. It's not the second best course in the world. We're talking about.
You can argue it's not number 2. You pretty much can't argue that it's top 5.
I can easily argue it's not top 5.
But you've also never been there, so I get. No, you have to. Like I've never been to St. Andrews, so it's like I can't.
I've never been kicked in the face by a horse. Like I don't know it hurts.
No, but there's certain places you do have to actually be there and experience a tournament while playing it. Like that, it elevates it in your mind. Every time I play certain courses, like a Pebble Beach or a Pasatiempo, or places like that. I even played Pinehurst and like Wingfoot and like places like that. The more you play those, they just continue to elevate in your mind, and it's like because you start to sort of extract all these like subtleties about like, oh, I didn't notice that like on TV or like, and all these things start adding up to make them even better and better and better. And Pebble also has all of the history that it's had over the course of time too. So there's just a lot of stuff that sort of goes into it for me. And I haven't played every course out there, so it's like, yeah, I mean, maybe something else squeezes into the top 5 for me, but it's going to be very, very hard to beat the setting of Pebble Beach, combined with the tradition, combined with the championships that it's had, combined with the challenge that the course actually presents. Like it's just a combination of factors that very, very, very few courses can meet.
I couldn't really care what tournaments. I couldn't really care what tournaments somewhere's hosted. Like that legacy nonsense. Yeah, like okay, you're going to play very few better layouts, visions, quality course in the world than Royal Greens. Like, but it'll never be in the top 200, 300 in the world because because people put way too much weight on some of the legacy side of it. But anyway, I'm not going to get bogged down with it. I find the world rankings. I find the world rankings of courses is spurious at best. If we're honest, it's contrived and a little bit corrupt.
Just like most rankings in golf.
If anyone wants to know why I think that, go and have a look at the people who are on the committees for some of the different world rankings and who they work for and what groups they work for that happen to own courses that are in the top 100. If you work for an organization that owns courses, you should not be on the board that ranks the top 100 courses. I don't understand how golf is so full of this corruption. It is absolutely mesmerizing. It's not even hidden. It's in plain sight. Go and have a look if you want. If you're that bored, get onto Google or ChatGPT and have a look at who the deciding people are on the different top 100 rankings, and also see where they happen to work.
Well, part of it is that, except there's also there's other top 100 lists that are more crowdsourced from people that have actually played it, and like there's so many rankings out there. But like the Golf Digest stuff, forget it.
One of the things that destroys me and just really grinds my gears is people going on to some of those crowd ranking things and down ranking Trump courses. Like, you aren't damaging Donald Trump, you're damaging the people that work there and tend those courses. Turnberry is absolute perfection. Like, I would play if you offer me a chance to play Turnberry 5 times or Pebble 100, I'd take Turnberry 5. It's pure heaven.
I've been to both, and it's Pebble's better than Turnberry.
No, it isn't. Sorry. Nonsense. Yeah, I have to come and play and tell you about it. Anyway, right, before Jay and I fall out about that, we fall out I love the way you're one of my best mates, and all we've done is argue for like an hour. Anyone who's still listening, to confirm, start the show. Jay's shit at golf, used to be really good, can't hit a driver at all. And if you want to watch me miss putts, if you want to miss putts from 4 feet, I am still running my attempt 5 putts in a row series. Have you seen that John Conrad has started to run statistics on my putt percentages?
God, that's
I love that, man.
Start putting some of the stuff out there. It's like, wow, you can really start to see what you're good at and what you're bad at. Honestly, taking stats is like such an important thing for like.
Am I the only person that's better from 8 foot and 10 foot than I am from 4?
That's really bad.
It's mental.
But
I'm slightly better than 57% from 4 foot.
Yeah.
And
you probably need a larger sample size at this
point.
I'm
like 80%. I'm 80% from 8 and not 8 and 10.
Let's get you up to like 100 attempts, and then we
Mate,
can start
if I got to do this another 10 times, I'm gonna kill myself. Going out, setting out the camera, like. There got to point now.
I need another putter or something. Maybe you get a lab putter. You'll make them.
No, it's not the ping putter. It's the problem. It's the prick on the end of it. That's the issue. The ping putter is lovely, but the fact I can drain
forgiveness,
the fact I can drain 8 foot and 10 foot putts for fun, but can't make it from 4. It means it's me that's the problem, not the putter. Anyway, right.
We'll talk about that more later. Right?
You're definitely bringing your clubs, aren't you, when you come over?
I think so. We'll have to see.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that. Mate, we got so much golf we can play. My club's
got
have
to use ship sticks.
Don't use ship sticks. Just put them in a case and bring them with you.
No, because I don't want to have
a travel case.
I don't want to take the chance of losing something. I don't want to take the chance of. I don't want to drag it on the freaking train and stuff like that. That's just like too much. So I might have to use ship sticks. Ship sticks. I've communicated with them a little bit, so I might be able to send me your
stats on what clubs you use, and we'll get Ross McChance from Cash for Clubs. He'll sort us out a loaner and as close to your gear as possible. There's a shout out. We're not even sponsored by them. We're not even sponsored by Cash for Clubs. But Ross, you have that shout out.
I have to say, my stuff is so unique. I actually just filmed the what's in the bag that Mrs. PGC was the director on it. She is so hard on herself in terms of the filming. She wants to redo it. So it's about 12 minutes. It's actually really good for a first attempt. My bag is very, very unique. I want to do one now before I make any changes. Like, everybody knows that my custom lab putter is on the way. I'm hoping to get that prior to the UK trip. Probably not. I think it's going to get here probably sometime in like August. Driver's probably the next thing that's got to go. 3-wood and sort of wedges are great. Mid irons, driver, those are probably the next 2 things to get upgraded, because they need a little work.
Right. Well, on that, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to go. I've got work to do. Life is busy, and I've got some putts to go miss in my garden.
And for those in the US that celebrate Happy July 4th, luckily this is like the time of year where a lot of us in the US get time off from work. I've got the next couple days off, which is great. I need it. I need to recharge. I'm going to get in a lot of golf because I was able to extract a lot of things from this tournament and things that I need to sort of work on and improve on. So, and that's what, challenging yourself in a competitive environment really is about. It's not about the result. It's about the journey and the process. That's the most amount of fun.
But I tell you one thing that did work really well for you when you were playing that tournament was your shot scope rangefinder from shotscope.com. Golf lover at checkout for 15% off at shotscope.com. Do you like that?
Yes, that was good. I did have to turn the slope off, though. It's a very important thing. You got to have the slope off in these competitions. So luckily I had it turned off. No issues.
How many people do you actually think have that turned off? I reckon it's so easy to abuse that rule.
Yeah. A lot of them you can see on the side, like they have a little highlighting thing to let you know.
Yeah, but you put your hand on the side of it, move it. Anyway, right, we got to go. I've got to go. I've got work to do. I love you all. Goodbye. Take care.